Hello everyone. If you are willing to get 80 out of 80 in board exam, then watch this video till end. After completion of this video, your confidence will increase and you gain so much knowledge to solve 10th class mathematics problems. So without wasting more time, let us start our discussion. Use Euclid's algorithm to find HCF of 900 and 270. So first, to solve this one, we need to know the formula A equals to BQ plus R. In our words, we will call the same formula as dividend is equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder, which we are learning from primary classes onwards. So how to solve this problem then? First, take the two numbers which are given and do division. Smaller number as the divisor, that is left side, and bigger number as the dividend, that is middle number. 273 is 810. Do subtraction. 900 minus 810 is 90. Now this as it is we need to write in the form of A equals to BQ plus R. So let us check. Dividend, that is 900, is equals to divisor into quotient 270 into 3 plus remainder 90. Now after completion of the first step, these two numbers we need to take and again do the division. 90 small number as the divisor, 270 bigger number as the dividend. So 93 is 270. 270 minus 270 is 0. Again this also we need to write it in the form of A equals to BQ plus R. So that is a dividend 270 is equals to 90 into 3 plus here the remainder is 0. So after solving like this continuously, whenever you will get the remainder 0, you need to stop the process there. So after getting the 0 remainder, what will be the divisor at the last step? That will be the HCF of the given two numbers. So HCF of 900 and 270 is 90. Find the LCM as well as HCF of 12, 15, 21 by prime factorization method. So first, for the given numbers, we need to do prime factorization. So let us do for 12. 2 6 are 12. 2 3s are 6. Now let us write this. So 12 can be written as 2 into 2 into 3. Not to have any confusion, I am not at all writing in the powers, that is 2 square into 3. Next number 15. 3 5s are 15. So this can be written as 3 into 5. Next 21. 3 7s are 21. That is 3 times 7. Now all the numbers prime factorizations we done. Now let us find out the HCF as well as LCM of these numbers then. So first we need to write HCF. To write the HCF in all the numbers, we need to check for the common numbers. In the first one, number 3 is there. In the second one also, number 3 is there. In the third one also, number 3 is there. Except number 3, no other numbers are common. So HCF will become 3. Now to write the LCM, first write the common numbers. That common number is 3 into. Now besides the common numbers, every extra number we need to write. Here extra number 2 is there, so write that 2 into. Again one more time 2 is there, write that 2 also into. Here extra number 5 is there, write that 5 into. Here extra number 7 is there, so write that 7 also. So this will become the LCM, 3 into 2 into 2 into 5 into 7. 3 2s are 6, 6 2s are 12, 12 5s are 60, 67s are 420. This is the HCF as well as LCM of the given two numbers by prime factorization method. Next, this kind of questions are very important questions. Check whether 6 power n can end with the digit 0. So actually what is the logic behind this question? A small logic will be there. To be end with digit 0, the number should have 2 and 5 as prime factors. Now let us check then. The given question is 6 power n. 6 can be written as 2 3s power n as it is. To be end with the digit 0, the number should have 2 and 5 as a prime factors. But in this case, 2 is a prime factor, that's okay. But 5 is not a prime factor. Besides 5, some other number 3 is there. So here 5 is not a prime number. So 6 power n cannot end with the digit 0. If 2 and 5 both are prime factors, then only it will end with the digit 0. Otherwise, it won't end with the digit 0. Explain why 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13 is a composite number. So first of all, what is a composite number? If a number has more than 2 factors, then that number is considered as composite number. So now let us take the given question. That is 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13. If we observe this clearly from here to here, this is one term because in this plus or minus is not there, and this will become the second term. These two terms are separated with the plus symbol. Always the terms are separated with plus or minus symbol only, not with multiplication, not with division. So in these two terms, if we observe this clearly, is there any number which is common in both the terms? Yes, of course. In the first term, number 13. In the second term also number 13 is there. So now, not to have any confusion, just I will add one more step for the given question, that is 7 into 11 into 13 as it is, plus second term is 13, right? So that 13 I am writing it as 13 ones, because 13 ones are also 13 only. Now if we observe again, in the first term number 13 is there, in the second term also number 13 is there. So I am taking that number 13 common. Then what else are remaining? Here 13 I took common, means remaining 7 into 11. Write that as it is 7 into 11. Here plus symbol as it is, plus symbol. 13 completed, so remaining is 1. So write that 1 here. In both the terms, number 13 is common, so we took that 13 common. If we take out that 13 common, we remains with 7 into 11 plus 1. So now outside 13 as it is, times 7 into 11, 77 plus 1. Then 13 times 77 plus 1, 78. Now here no need to write the answer for this one. Without writing the answer only, we can conclude our final conclusion. That is, composite numbers means it should have more than 2 factors, right? So for every number, 1 is a factor compulsory, that we know. Here 13 is a factor, 78 is also a factor. So for this case, more than 2 factors are there, so definitely we can say that it will be having, more than 2 factors, so definitely this is a composite number. Which is terminating? Yes, obviously this kind of questions more will be there, especially in the part B as well as 1 mark questions. So which is terminating and which is non-terminating? If the denominator is in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m, if again I am saying the denominator, if the denominator is in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m, then that number is terminating. Otherwise, non-terminating, repeating type of decimal will be there. So what exactly this 2 power n into 5 power m means? In our simple words, if we say, the denominator should have only number 2, whatever it may be the power, or else only number 5, whatever it may be the power, otherwise 2 and 5 both. If the denominator contains 2 or 5 or 2 and 5, then that kind of number has terminating decimal, otherwise non-terminating, repeating type of decimal. In this case, we won't worry about the numerator at all, and we won't worry about the powers. So now let us take the first question. The question is 3 divided by 8, that is equals to 3 by 8. If we do prime factorization, we will get a 2 power 3. Now if we observe the denominator, in the denominator only number 2 is there, so this is having terminating type of decimal. As I said clearly, we don't have any work with the numerator, so that's why I'm not touching the numerator, and we don't have any work with the power, so I am not touching the power also. So only we need to check the denominator, especially the base of the denominator. So in this case, the base of the denominator is 2, so it is in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m. Next, coming to the second question, 2 by 11. Here, as I said very clearly, the denominator should have only 2 or only 5 or only 2 and 5. No other numbers except these. So, but in the second question, 2 by 11, 11 is completely not at all related to these 2, 5 and 2, 5 and 5. So, definitely it will be having a non-terminating repeating type of decimal. So, what conclusion we will give in the exams then? The denominator is not in the form of 2 power n into 5 power m. So that is the reason 2 by 11 has non-terminating repeating type of decimal. Write decimal without division. Already we know clearly how to write the decimal actually by normal division. But in this case, he is particularly mentioning in the question that without doing any division, we need to solve that. And we need to find out the decimal. So it's very easy. Take the numerator as it is. We don't have any work with the numerator. By 8 is the denominator. So write the prime factorization of 8. That is 2 cube. 3 by 2 cube. Denominator is 2 cube. So we need to multiply and divide with 5 cube. In case if denominator is 2, you need to multiply and divide with 5. If it is 2 square, we need to multiply and divide with 5 square. If it is 2 cube, we need to multiply and divide with 5 cube. If it is 2 power 10, we need to multiply and divide with 5 power 10. Now, 3 as it is into 5 cube 125 divided by denominators. If you observe here, 2 cube is there, here 5 cube is there. 2 cube into 5 cube, 2 5s are 10 power 3, 10 cube. Now the numerator 3 into 125, it will be 375 divided by 10 cube 1000. 375 divided by 1000 is 0.375. So the decimal of the given number 3 by 8 is 0.375. Next, convert 2 power 5 is equals to 32 to logarithmic form. Converting exponential form to logarithmic form and logarithmic form to exponential form is one of the compulsory questions in the exams. So let us check how to do then. It's very easy actually. 2 power 5 is equals to 32. This is in the form of exponent. This is the answer actually, that is 32. 2 power 5 is nothing but 32. So 32 is considered as the answer. For that answer, apply log. So log 32. That is equals to. Now in the given question, whatever the power is there, write that power as the number which is right side of the equal. Now if we observe the question clearly, here power 5 already we wrote that one, 32 also we wrote one. Still remaining number is, that is base 2 is remaining, that is base, write that as it is as the base here. So 2 power 5 is equals to 32 is nothing but log 32 base 2 is equals to 5. This is the way to convert from exponential form to logarithmic form. Next, now in reverse. In the question, they only mentioned a logarithmic form and we need to convert to exponential form. So, the question is log 16 base 2 is equals to 4. It's very simple. This is the main number 16. So, write that main number is equals to. Take this base as the base only, 2 power 4. So here also 2 is the base. So log 16 base 2 is equals to 4 is nothing but 16 is equals to 2 power 4. This is the conversion from logarithmic form to exponential form. Next, logarithm related questions. Log 5 base 25. So what is the value of this? Log 5. Because 5 still we cannot simplify further. Next, number base 25 is there. 25 can be written as 5 square. If the power is for the base, it will come to the front as the reciprocal. So here 2 is the power, that is for the base. So it is going to the front. Now 2 will become reciprocal. So that is 1 by 2. Remaining all as it is. Log 5 base 5. That is equals to 1 by 2 into the value of log 5 base 5 is 1. So 1 by 2 into 1. 1 by 2 into 1 is equals to 1 by 2. Next, log 3 base 81. So log 3. Here base 81 can be written as 3 power 4. Again here the power is for the base. So if you take it that to the front side, it will become reciprocal. 4 reciprocal is 1 by 4. Log 3 base 3. That is equals to 1 by 4 into the value of log 3 base 3 is 1. So 1 by 4 into 1 it is equals to 1 by 4. Next, 2 power 2 plus log 3 base 2. So once we need to go back to the exponents and powers formulas. In the exponents and powers, we have one formula, that is a power m into a power n is equals to a power m plus n. If bases are same, then we will add the powers. Now the same formula, if I read in reverse, a power m plus a power n is equals to a power m into a power n. Now the given question is in this form. Observe here clearly, a power m plus n. So now the right side part is given in the question, then we need to create the left side part. So a is nothing but base 2, 2 power 2 into 2 power log 3 base 2. That is 2 square is 4 into 2 power log 3 base 2. If these two numbers are same, means this will be the answer, that is 3. So 4 times 3, 12. What is the value of log 2 plus log 5? In the logarithms, if a plus is there, means we need to do multiplication. If multiplication is there, means plus. If subtraction is there, means division. If division is there, means subtraction. So in this case plus is there, so we need to go with the multiplication. Log, write logarithm only one time, then numbers. 2 into 5. Here 2 is there, here 5 is there. So 2 into 5. Log 2 5s are 10. For any logarithm, if the base is not there, means always the base will be 10. So log 10 base 10, answer is 1. Next, what is the value of 2 log 3 minus 3 log 2? If a number is there before the logarithm, it will go as the power. If a number is there before the logarithm, it will go as the power. So then we will get log 3. Now the before number is coming as the power, so power 2 minus log 2. Before number is coming as the power, so power 3. Log 3 square 9 minus log 2 cube 8. In the logarithms, if minus is there, means we need to do division. So log only one time, first number divided by second number. Log 9 minus log 8 is nothing but log 9 divided by 8. Next, what is the value of log x square y cube z power 4? So here if you observe the question clearly, x square y cube z power 4, that is multiplication. Log x square into y cube into z power 4. In the logarithms, if multiplication is there, means we need to do addition. For every alphabet, one logarithm separately now. Log x square plus log y cube plus log z power 4. Now these numbers will come to the front, I mean the powers. So it will become 2 times log x plus 3 times log y plus 4 times log z. This is the expanded form of the given logarithm. Next, if x square plus y square is equals to 25xy, then prove that 2 log of x plus y is equals to 3 log 3 plus log x plus log y. The first thing you need to do is observing the second condition of the question. Sorry, what exactly they are asking to prove. In that, if every term is plus, add 2xy. If at least one term is negative, subtract 2xy from this condition. So now here in this second one, what they are asking to prove, everything is positive only. So I need to add 2xy for the condition. This is the condition actually. That is x square plus y square is equals to 25xy. Now for this one, I need to add 2xy both the sides. So plus 2xy, here also plus 2xy. X square plus y square plus 2xy, that is in the form of a square plus b square plus 2ab. So I can simplify that as x plus y whole square. That is equals to right side 25xy plus 2xy, it is 27xy. They are asking to prove something in that all logarithms are there. So I will apply log also on both the sides now. Log of x plus y whole square is equals to log 27xy. Now this power will go to the front as it is. So remains with 2 log of x plus y is equals to, this is log 27xy, that is nothing but multiplication. So multiplication will becomes addition. Log 27 plus log x plus log y. Left side part I am writing as it is, that is 2 log of x plus y is equals to log 27, prime factorization is 3 power 3 plus log x plus log y. Now again this power will go to the front, left side part as it is, then it will become 3 log 3 plus log x plus log y, hence proved. Next question, if log of x plus y by 3 equals to half of log x plus log y, then find the value of x by y plus y by x. Here the question is only looking little different or difficult I can say, but the answer is very easy actually. The small logic we need to catch from the question. Observe here, in this he is something value he is asking, but in this logarithm is not there, whereas in the question logarithm is there. So it means we need to remove logarithm from the given question. So let us check once. I am writing the given condition. Log of x plus y by 3 is equals to half of log x plus log y. Left side logarithm is already separate, so I won't touch anything to the left side. So left side part I am writing as it is, that is log of x plus y by 3 is equals to half open bracket log x plus log y, it is addition. So in the logarithms addition becomes multiplication, log x plus log y, log xy. Here this front side number will go as it is as the power, then log of x plus y divided by 3 is equals to log xy power 1 by 2. What is the meaning of power 1 by 2? Power 1 by 2 is nothing but root. Otherwise you can keep it like that also, it's up to you. Now left side logarithm is separate, right side also logarithm is separate. Now by comparison we can say that both logs are there with the same base. I mean that if base is not there means 10 will be the base. So here also base 10 only, here also base 10 only. For both the logarithms, if the base is 10, I mean same, and no other extra terms, no other extra numbers, then we can compare the main numbers. Left side main number is x plus y divided by 3, that is equals to right side main number is xy whole power 1 by 2. To remove this power 1 by 2, both the sides I am doing squaring, so that this to cancel. Now we remains with x plus y by 3 whole square is equals to xy. This square is for numerator as well as for denominator also. So let us separate x plus y whole square. x square plus y square plus 2xy by 3 square 9 is equals to xy. Take 9 to the right side, it becomes multiplication. X square plus y square plus 2xy is equals to this 9. If we take that side, 9 into xy, 9xy. Now take 2xy also to the right side. X square plus y square is equals to plus 2xy. If you take another side, it becomes minus 2xy. 9xy minus 2xy. X square plus y square is equals to 9xy minus 2xy. It is 7xy. Now keep number right side only and bring xy to the left side. So we will get x square plus y square whole divided by xy is equals to 7. Let us separate the terms now. X square by xy plus y square by xy is equals to 7. Here x square cancel, y square cancel. So finally we remains with x by y plus y by x is equals to 7. This is the value what exactly we need to find out. Next question. Is log 2 rational or not? So log 2 is given. As I already said in the previous question only, for any logarithm, if the base is not there, means always the base is 10. Now log 2 base 10 means some answer will be there compulsory, but we don't know that answer, so that's why I'm taking it as some x. Now this logarithmic form we need to convert to exponential form. So main number is 2, so write that as 2 is equals to, this is base, so take it as the base again, 10 power x. 2 is equals to 10 power x. Now in the place of x, whatever the number you substitute, is there any chance we will get the answer to? Impossible. So there is no x value which satisfies this equation. So that's why log 2 is an irrational number. Next question. Write 3, 6, 9, 12 in set builder form. So set builder is nothing but for whatever the given elements in the set, some property or some logic or some formula will be there. That particular pattern or formula we need to write it here. Now observe all the elements clearly given in the question. 3, 6, 9, 2. Easily we can say that those are 3 table. 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 6, 3 3s are 9, 3 4s are 12. So that can be written as x such that x is equals to, that is 3 table, right? So write it as 3n. If it is 4 table means 4n. If it is 5 table means 5n. If it is 7 table means 7n. X is equals to 3n where n belongs to, this is 3 1s are. So starting from 1. Starting from 1 means natural numbers. 3 1s are, 3 2s are, 3 3s are, 3 4s are. Till 3 4s are we are stopping. So n less than or equals to 4. That's it. This is the set builder form of the given set. X such that x is equals to 3n where n belongs to capital N and n less than or equals to 4. Next question is, if set A is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and set B is equals to 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, then find the values of A union B, A intersection B and A minus B. So let us check one by one. First I am going to do A union B. What is exactly meaning of A union B? Union, together. Now write all the elements from the set A. So 1, 2, 3, 4, comma. Now from the set B. Here set B first element is 1, but already I wrote 1 here. So don't write again. Here 2 is there, already I wrote 2 also, so don't write 2. Here 3 is there, already I wrote 3, so don't write it again second time. Here 5 is there, but 5 I didn't write, so write it now. 6 is there, 6 also I didn't write, so write that 6 here. So A union B is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All the elements from both the sets. Next coming to A intersection B. A intersection. So intersection is nothing but common. We need to write all the elements which are common in both the sets. Here 1 is there, here also 1 is there, so write 1. Here 2 is there, here also 2 is there, so write 2 also. Here 3 is there, here 3 is there, so write that 3 also. Next 4 not there, 5 not there, 6 not there. So only 1, 2, 3 are the common elements in both the sets A as well as B. So next A minus B. A minus B. A minus B is nothing but from the set A we need to remove all the elements which are there in set B. 1 is there in the set B also, so remove it. 2 is there in set B also, so remove it. 3 is there in set B also, so remove it. 4 is not there in the set B, so only 4 will come in the A minus B. A minus B means from A only we need to remove. So that's why don't touch the set B at all. Here I am not touching the set B. Next are the sets 2, 3, 4, 5 and 3, 6 disjoint sets. So what exactly the meaning of disjoint sets means? If 2 or more than 2 sets does not have any common element, then those are considered as disjoint sets. Now let us check here. Common elements I am speaking, right? Common is nothing but a intersection. From these two sets, is there anything common? Here number 3 is there, here also number 3 is there. So 3 is the common. Now from these given two sets, one element 3 is common. So that is the reason we can say that this is not a disjoint set. Because nothing should be common. If nothing is common, then only that is disjoint set, otherwise not a disjoint set. If set A is equals to A, B, C, D and set B is equals to D, C, A, B, then is set A equals to set B. Equal set. So here we need to have a brief discussion about two types of sets. One is equal set and one is equivalent set. Equal set means every element of the two or more than two sets should be same. Then those are called as equal sets, otherwise not equal. Now let us check the question once. He is asking set A and set B whether these are equal or not equal. Here element A is there, here also element A is there. Here element B is there, here also element B is there. Here element C is there, here also element C is there. Here element D, here also element D. Every element is the same. So that's why we can say that set A and set B both are equal to each other. Yes, set A is equal to set B. Then what about this equivalent? Equivalent means just we need to count the number of elements. In the set A, how many elements are there? 4 elements are there. Number of elements in set A is 4. Number of elements in set B. In set B also, sorry, here one letter was gone by mistake. Yeah. In the set B also 4 letters are there. So set B also 4 elements. Now if we observe this clearly, in the set A 4 elements, in the set B also 4 elements. If the number of elements are same, then those two sets are considered as equivalent sets. Next, list all the subsets of x comma y comma z. Writing subsets is very easy. So before going to write the subset, let's have a formula for number of subsets. So number of subsets formula is 2 power n. That is 2 power n means how many elements are there in the given set. Here 3 elements are there, so 2 power 3. What is the value of 2 power 3? It's obviously 8. So it means for this given set, 8 subsets will be there. So let us check while writing subsets, we are getting 8 or we are missing anything. Now write one element alone. So first element x alone, comma, second element y alone, comma, third element z alone. Now alone elements completed. Now two elements together, x y together, comma, y z together, comma, zx together. So two elements also completed. Now all the 3 elements together, that is set itself x comma y comma z. Now everything completed. After finishing writing like this, then add one more set, that is empty set. So these are the subsets of the given set. So according to the formula, we need to get 8 subsets. Let us check whether we got 8 or not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, of course we got. What is the relation between n of A, n of B, n of A union B and n of A intersection B? N of nothing but number of elements in the set A, that is represented with n of A. Number of elements in the set B is represented with n of B. Number of elements in the set A union B. Number of elements in the set A intersection B. Now, for all these 4, some relation is there actually. That is also considered as formula. So, you remember this. That is n of A union B is equals to n of A plus n of B minus n of A intersection B. This is the formula or else relation between all those 4. N of A union B equals to n of A plus n of B minus n of A intersection B. Very easy also to remember. Next, they gave 4 questions and is asking which is a polynomial. So whenever these kind of questions are coming in the exams, then definitely we need to give proper explanation for that, because just simply if we write yes or no, they won't give you full marks. So definitely why you are saying yes or why you are saying no. So that statement verification you need to do compulsory. Even if they asked also, even if they didn't ask also, you need to verify why you are saying that statement. So first of all, what is a polynomial? An expression with non-negative integral power. An expression with non-negative integral power is called as a polynomial. Then what exactly this non-negative integral power means? In simple words, whole number. So now I will make the same sentence in simple words. For any alphabet of the given question, for any alphabet, if the power is a whole number, then we can say that as the polynomial, otherwise not a polynomial. Now let us check the alphabets. Here x power 2 is there, 2 is a whole number. Here for x nothing is there, means it means power 1. Power 1 is a whole number. Power 2 is a whole number, power 1 is a whole number, both are whole numbers. So the first one is a polynomial. I am saying again clearly, we need to check only for the alphabet, no need to check for the number, because number is a constant, constant is a polynomial, fixed. Next, power minus 3 is there. Minus 3 is not a whole number. So this is not a whole number, means obviously that is not a polynomial also. No need to check for remaining terms. One term is not satisfying, means finished. Next, x plus 1 by x, x as it is, plus 1 by x can be written as x power minus 1. Here power is minus 1. Minus 1 is not a whole number, so this is not a polynomial. Next, coming to the last question, 2 into root x is there. So root x value is x power 1 by 2 plus remaining all as it is, that is 3x square plus 5. Now again if you observe here, the power is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is not a whole number, so that's why this is not a polynomial. If the power of alphabet or variable is a whole number, then only that is a polynomial, otherwise not a polynomial. Next, find the value of the given polynomial 2x square minus 5x plus 3 at x is equals to minus 1. So whenever they are asking to find out the value of a polynomial, simply substitute that number. Here this 2 as it is into, here x square is there, in the place of x I'll substitute minus 1. So minus 1 square minus as it is 5 as it is into, again here x is there, x is nothing but minus 1. This remaining plus 3 as it is, because in that alphabet x is not there. In the given question, in the polynomial, wherever you have x, in the place of x substitute minus 1. Not to have any confusion, that's why wherever I am substituting, whatever I am substituting, I'll keep bracket throughout the video, so that we won't do any mistakes in the next steps. Now outside number as it is, first we need to solve the bracket, then after touch the outside number. Minus 1 whole square plus 1, remaining all as it is. Now here again squares, cubes, nothing is there, so direct multiplication. 2 1s are 2, minus into minus plus, 5 1s are 5 plus 3. If we add these, 2 plus 5 7, 7 plus 3 10. So 10 is the value of the given polynomial at x is equals to minus 1. Next, check whether 3 comma minus 2 are the zeros of the polynomial x square minus x minus 6 or not. So whenever they are asking to check, same logic again like the previous question, simply we need to substitute in the place of x. First number I am taking 3. So here in the place of x 3 square minus, in the place of x 3 minus 6. Now as I already said, wherever whatever I am substituting, I'll keep brackets so that we won't have any confusion in the next steps again. Now 3 square 9 minus 3 minus 6. 9 minus 3 6 minus 6 as it is. 6 minus 6 0. Now let me substitute the second number, that is minus 2. So now here minus 2 whole square minus 2 minus 6. Here in the place of x I substituted minus 2. Here again minus is there, so minus as it is. Again in the place of x minus 2 minus 6 as it is. Now let us simplify this again. Minus 2 whole square 4, minus into minus plus 2 minus 6. 4 plus 2 6 minus 6. 6 minus 6 0. After substituting some numbers in the given polynomial, if we get the answer 0, then those numbers are considered as zeros of the polynomial, otherwise not zeros of the polynomial. So in this case here I got the 0, here I got 0. So plus 3 and minus 2 are zeros of the given polynomial x square minus x minus 6. Next question, find the zeros of x square plus 5x plus 6. So to find out the zeros of a polynomial, otherwise a quadratic equation, we will be having some methods. So out of all those methods, one of the methods is splitting the middle term into two terms or else factorization. So first term, that is x square, I am writing as it is, plus 5x, I am writing it as 2x plus 3x, because 2x plus 3x is also 5x only, so plus 6 as it is again. If anyone has trouble in this splitting the middle term into two terms, actually this process is called as splitting middle term into two terms, so please comment it. I already did many videos on splitting the middle term into two terms, how to did it easy, so I will send the link so that you can watch it. Now from the first term and the second term we can take out x common, so x common, then remains with x plus 2. The same way from the third and fourth term also we can take out plus 3 common, so plus 3 if we take out common, then we remains with x plus 2 again. Now here x plus 2 two times is there, so write it once simply, into write the remaining, that is x plus 3. So the factors are x plus 2 and x plus 3. Then what will be the zeros? Here plus 2 is there, so minus 2 is the 0. Here plus 3 is there, so minus 3 is the 0. Minus 2 and minus 3 are the zeros of the polynomial x square plus 5x plus 6. Next, find alpha plus beta and alpha into beta of the given polynomial. Alpha plus beta, sum of the zeros. Alpha into beta, product of the zeros. Now this is the given polynomial x square minus 2x minus 8. Before x square nothing is there, so I can write it as 1. 1x square minus 2x minus 8. Now before x square which number is there, that is called as a, so that is 1. Before x which number is there, that is called as b. Here before x minus 2 is there, so b value is minus 2. Whatever the constant is there, that is c minus 8. Now let us check the formulas. Sum of the zeros, that is alpha plus beta, formula is minus b by a. Minus as it is b value here it is minus 2 divided by a value 1. So minus into minus 2 plus 2. In the denominator 1 doesn't have any value. So sum of the zeros is 2. Next, alpha into beta, that is product of the zeros. Product of the zeros formula is c divided by a. C is constant minus 8 by a is 1. Minus 8 by 1 minus 8. Find the quadratic polynomial if alpha comma beta, nothing but zeros, are given as 2 comma minus 1. So when two zeros are given, we need to write one quadratic polynomial or simply polynomial. So we have a formula, that is x square minus alpha plus beta into x plus alpha beta. X square as it is minus alpha is given as 2, beta minus 1 into x plus alpha 2 into beta minus 1. Just those are given in the question only directly. I am not creating anything new here. Now x square minus 2 minus 1 1x plus into minus 2 1s are 2. So x square minus 1x minus 2. Here 1 doesn't have any value, so I can simplify this further as x square minus x minus 2. This is the required quadratic polynomial. In this question, pair of linear equations in two pairs are given and they are asking whether those two are consistent or not consistent. First of all, what is the meaning of consistent? If the equations has at least one solution, then that is called as consistent, otherwise inconsistent. So at least one solution, which lines having at least one solution? That is intersecting lines, otherwise coincident lines. Intersecting lines and coincident lines are considered as consistent. Then which is not consistent or inconsistent, I can say? That is parallel. Parallel lines, they won't touch with each other. So if they are not touching with each other, they don't have any common point. So that's why inconsistent or not at all consistent. Now let us check then whether the given question is a consistent question or inconsistent question. So for that we need to find out the ratio of a1 by a2, b1 by b2 and c1 by c2. What exactly this a1 by a2, b1 by b2, c1 by c2? It's very easy, nothing. X coefficient is 5, that is a1, by x coefficient is 7, that is a2, 5 by 7. Y coefficient is minus 4, so that is b1, by y coefficient is 6, that is b2. Constant is 8, that is c1. Constant is minus 9, that is c2. Now let us check whether these ratios or answers are same or else different. 5 by 7 we cannot simplify further, so that's completed. Minus 4 by 6, 2 2s are 2 3s are. 8 by minus 9 we cannot simplify further. First answer is 5 by 7. 5 by 7. Second answer is minus 2 by 3. 5 by 7 and minus 2 by 3 not at all equal. If first and second both are not at all equal, then we need not to check about the third one. The condition here is a1 by a2 is not equals to b1 by b2. If a1 by a2 is not equals to b1 by b2, then those two lines are intersecting lines. Intersecting line means at least one solution is there. So at least one solution is there means these are consistent pair. Next, 3x plus 2y equals to 11. 2x plus 3y equals to 4. Then solve for x and y. Here also, to solve the pair of linear equations in two variables for x and y values, three methods are there. One is elimination method and one is substitution method. Then third one is graphical representation. So in this case, I am going to discuss elimination method. Without having any mess, I will explain in simple and shortcut this one. First equation you multiply with x coefficient of the second equation. The same way, second equation multiply with first equation x coefficient, that is 3. Finish. This is the first thing you need to do. Multiply the first equation with second equation x coefficient. Multiply the second equation with first equation x coefficient. Now let us check multiplication. 3x into 2, 6x, plus 2y into 2, 4y, is equals to 11 into 2, 22. 2x into 3, 6x, plus 3y into 3, 9y, is equals to 4 3s are 12. Here 6x is there, here also 6x is there, both are plus. If both are plus means we need to do subtraction. So minus, minus, minus. Plus 6x minus 6x cancel. 4y minus 9y minus 5y is equals to 22 minus 12, 10. Now we want y value, so take minus 5 to the right side, it will become division. That is y is equals to 10 divided by minus 5. 5 1s are 5 2s are. So y value is minus 2 because here down minus symbol is there. Now this y value you can substitute either in the first equation or else in the second equation. You will get the x value. So I am taking this first equation, that is 3x plus 2y equals to 11. 3x plus 2y equals to 11. 3x plus 2y is equals to 11. 3 x value I don't know, plus 2 into y value we got as minus 2 is equals to 11. 3x plus into minus minus 2 to the 4 equals to 11. Minus 4, if we take to the right side, it becomes plus 4. So we get 3x is equals to 11 plus 4. 3x is equals to 11 plus 4 is 15. 3x is 15, then what will be the x value? X is equals to 15 by 3. 3 1s are 3 5s are. So x is equals to 5. X value is 5 and y value is minus 2. Is x minus 2 whole square plus 1 equals to 2x minus 3 a quadratic equation? So what is the meaning of quadratic equation? If the degree of given equation is 2, then that equation is considered as quadratic equation. If 1 is the degree, linear. If 3 is the degree, cubic. Now let us check here. Left side we have x minus 2 whole square. X minus 2 whole square is in the form of a minus b whole square, right? So x square plus 2 square minus 2 into x into 2. A minus b whole square is nothing but a square plus b square minus 2ab. That only I wrote here. Remaining all as it is, I'll write. Sorry. Plus 1 is there, plus 1 is equals to 2x minus 3 as it is. Now, x square plus 2 square is 4 minus 2 into x 2x, 2x into 2, 4x. Plus 1 is equals to 2x minus 3. X square minus 4x, 4 plus 1, 5 is equals to 2x minus 3. Now, everything I'll bring to the left side first. x square minus 4x plus 5 plus 2x. If we take to the left side, it becomes minus 2x. Minus 3, if we bring to the left side, it will become plus 3 is equals to 0. X square as usual. Here minus 4x minus 2x minus 6x plus 5 plus 3 plus 8 is equals to 0. So after simplification of the given question, I got the final answer as x square minus 6x plus 8. Here for x, power is 2. Here for x nothing is there, means 1. Constant, no problem. Now out of these two numbers, 2 and 1, the bigger is 2. So the degree of the given quadratic equation is 2. If the degree is 2, then definitely that is considered as quadratic equation only. Find the roots of x square minus 3x minus 10 is equals to 0. Maybe to find out the discriminant, or else, oh sorry, you're asking roots, right? I thought it has nature of roots. So maybe that is in the next question. I'll come to that later. So now he is asking just to find out the roots. Again same, splitting the middle term into two terms. First term x square as it is. In the place of minus 3x, I am writing it as minus 5x plus 2x. Third term as it is minus 10 is equals to 0. From the first and second terms, we can take out x common, so we remains with x minus 5. From third and fourth terms, we can take out 2 common, so remains with x minus 5 is equals to 0. X minus 5, I can see it 2 times, so write it only once, x minus 5. Then remaining is x plus 2 is equals to 0. Here minus 5 is there, so x value will be plus 5. Here plus 2 is there, so minus 2. So the roots or zeros of the given quadratic equation are 5 comma minus 2. Now okay, find the nature of the roots. Even though they are asking discriminant or nature of the roots, both are having the same formula, that is b square minus 4ac. B square minus 4ac. Then what exactly this b square minus 4ac means? B is x coefficient, a x square coefficient, c as usual constant. B square is there, first b coefficient minus 3 square minus 4 into a x square coefficient 2 into c constant 5. Let us simplify this now. I substituted all the numbers in b square minus 4ac formula. Minus 3 square 9 minus 4 2s are 8, 8 5s are 40. 9 minus 40 minus 31. So minus 31 means that is less than 0. If b square minus 4ac value is less than 0, then that is considered as imaginary. So if we split the middle also, splitting is not possible of course. If we apply by the formula of the quadratic equation roots, then we will get 2 imaginary roots. Next, if 2x square plus kx plus 3 is equals to 0 has 2 equal roots, then find the k value. So for any quadratic equation, if 2 equal roots are there, means the condition is b square minus 4ac equals to 0. So here b is nothing but x coefficient, so k square minus 4 into a is x square coefficient into c constant 3, that is equals to 0. K square minus 4 2 is 8, 8 is 24 is equals to 0. We need to find out the k value, so take minus 24 to the right side, it becomes plus 24. So we get k square is equals to 24. Then what will be the k value? Plus or minus under root 24. So this is the value of k. Next is 4 comma 10 comma 16 comma 22 and so on forms an AP or not. First we need to find out the common difference. Common difference is nothing but second term A2 minus first term A1. Let us check once here. This is second term 10 minus first term 4. 10 minus 4 we got it as 6. Now again let us find one more difference. again d is equals to third term minus second term. Now here third term is 16 minus second term is 10. 16 minus 10, that is again 6. In the first case also we got the difference as 6 only. In the second case also we got the difference as 6 only. So in both the cases the common difference is same. Then I can conclude that the given progression is definitely arithmetic progression only. If the common difference is same, then that is arithmetic progression. Next, if A is equals to 4, D equals to minus 3, then find the next 4 terms of the AP. A1 first term is also written as A. A1 and A both are same, that is given as 4. Now we need to find out the second term, that is A2. A2 is nothing but A1 plus D. Here A1 is 4, D is minus 3. So 4 minus 3, 1. So second term is 1. The same way third term. If I want third term means I need to add the common difference for the second term. So A2 is 1, D is minus 3. 1 minus 3 minus 2. Next A4. A4 is nothing but A3 plus common difference. A3 is minus 2 and common difference is minus 3. Minus 2 minus 3 minus 5. So the same way you can find out how many you want. Just keep on adding the common difference. Find 10th term of the AP. So we have a formula for finding the nth term of a progression, that is arithmetic progression. So an nth term is equals to A plus n minus 1 into D. This is the formula for finding nth term of the given arithmetic progression. In this, A is nothing but first term. This A is first term. N is which term we are finding, maybe first term, second term, 100th term, 10th term, like that. D is common difference. Now let us substitute one by one number in the formula. So we are finding 10th term, right? So that's why I write it as A10 is equals to A first term plus 5 plus N 10 minus 1 into D. D is common difference. Common difference is nothing but second term minus first term. 1 minus 5 minus 4. 5 plus 10 minus 1, 9 into minus 4. Now if we simplify this further, 5 plus into minus minus, 9 4s are 36. 5 minus 36, that is minus 31. So in the given arithmetic progression, the 10th term will be minus 31. Next, how many 2-digit numbers are divisible by 3? So first 3 table we will write. 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 6, 3 3s are, because divisible by 3 is asking, right? Let me change the color, it's better than. So he is asking the 3 table, right? So let us write the 3 table then. 3 1s are, 3 2s are, 3 3s are, 3 4s are, 3 5s are, and so on. So many will be there. But in the question he is mentioning particularly 2-digit numbers. Now that will start from 12. So 12, 15, 18 and so on. Then what is the last 2-digit number? 99. 99 is divisible by 3? Yes, of course. So 99. Now take the nth term formula for AP. An is equals to A plus n minus 1 into D. An nth term or the last term. Here last term clearly we know that is 99. So that's 99 is equals to A 12 plus n we don't know. Minus 1 into D, common difference. This is 3 table, right? So definitely common difference also will be 3 only. 3. Take 12 this side, it will become minus. 99 minus 12 is equals to n minus 1 into 3. 99 minus 12, 87 is equals to n minus 1 into 3. Take 3 also to the left side, it becomes division. 87 divided by 3 is equals to n minus 1. 3 1s are, 3 2s are 6, 3 9 27. n minus 1 is equals to 29. Now take minus 1 also to the right side, it will becomes plus 1. So n is equals to 29 plus 1, then n is equals to 30. It means total 30 numbers are there. I mean 2-digit numbers are there which are divisible by 3. Next question. Check whether minus 150 is a term of the given AP 11, 8, 5, 12 and so on. So whenever these kind of questions are there, again we need to go with the nth term formula only. So an is equals to a plus n minus 1 into d. Here is asking to check minus 150, so that minus 150 will become our nth term. So minus 150 is equals to a value first term 11 plus n we need to find out into common difference second number minus first number 8 minus 11 minus 3. Take 11 to the left side, it becomes minus. So minus 150 minus 11 is equals to n minus 1 into minus 3. Minus 150 minus 11 minus 161 is equals to n minus 1 into minus 3. Take minus 3 also to the left side, then it becomes a division. Minus 161 divided by minus 3 is equals to n minus 1. Minus symbol cancel. Then we remains with 161 divided by 3. But in 3 table 161 won't come. So if it is not coming means we can say that the given number, that is minus 150, won't be there in the given progression, because we will say first term, second term n equals to 2, third term n equals to 3, 10th term n equals to 10, but we cannot able to say 1.2th term, 1.3rd term, 1.4th term. We cannot say like this. Only numbers, natural numbers will be having as terms. So in this case 3 and 161 both are not at all divisible. So if we write also, we will get some decimal point. Decimal points are not acceptable in the form of terms. So then I can say that clearly now minus 150 is not a term in the given arithmetic progression. Find the sum of 10 terms of the given arithmetic progression 2, 7, 12, and so on. So what is the formula for sum of n terms? Sn is equals to n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. This is the formula to find out the sum of n terms. In this question he is asking for 10 terms, so yes 10. 10 terms, so n value 10 by 2 into 2 into a value first term 2 plus again n value 10 minus 1 into d value second term minus first term 7 minus 2, it is 5. 2 1s are 2 5s are. Now let us simplify. 5 into 2 2s are 4 plus 10 minus 1 9 into 5. 5 times 4 plus 9 5s are 45. That is equals to 5 into 4 plus 45, 49. 5 9s are 45, 5 4 carry, 5 was 20, 24. So 245. Sum of the 10 terms of the given progression is 245. Next, find the distance between the given 2 points minus 2, minus 3 and 3, 2. So what is the formula for finding the distance between given 2 points? The formula is under root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So this is x1 y1 and this is x2 y2. Let us substitute in the formula now. Under root x2 is 3 minus x1 is again minus 2 whole square plus y2 is 2 minus y1 is minus 3 whole square. Under root 3 minus into minus 2 plus 2 whole square plus 2 minus into minus plus 3 whole square. That is under root 3 plus 2 5 square plus 2 plus 3 5 square. That is under root 5 square plus 5 square 25 plus 25. That is 2 times under root 25 plus 25 50. That is equals to under root 2 times 25 root 2 into root 25. Root 2 we don't know the value, so write it as it is, into root 25 is 5. So the final distance is 5 root 2 units. Next, if the distance between x comma 7 and 1 comma 15 is 10, then find x value. Again same distance formula only, but is under root x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. This is x1 y1 and this is x2 y2. Let us substitute here. Under root x2 is 1 minus x1 is x whole square plus y2 is 15 minus y1 is 7 whole square. That is equals to 10, because he mentioned in the question the distance is 10. Now left side we have square root, but right side square root is not there. So to remove the square root, both the sides I am doing square, so that these two cancel. Now here we remains with 1 minus x whole square, as it is I am writing that one, plus here 15 minus 7, that is 8 square, is equals to 10 square. If we simplify this further, 1 minus x whole square plus 8 square 64 is equals to 10 square 100. Take this plus 64 to the right side, then it becomes minus 64. So 1 minus x whole square is equals to 100 minus 64. 1 minus x whole square equals to 100 minus 64, 36. 1 minus x whole square is 36. Then what will be the 1 minus x value? Plus or minus 6, because 6 6 is 36. Once take plus 6 and once take minus 6. 1 minus x is equals to plus 6. I am taking first. Take minus x to the right side and 6 to the left side. So 1 minus 6 is equals to x. Then x value will be 1 minus 6 minus 5. Now the same way 1 minus x is equals to, take the negative number, minus 6. Bring minus 6 this side and minus x to the right side. 1 minus 6 will become plus 6 is equals to minus x becomes plus x. So here x is equals to 6 plus 1, 7. So in both the cases x values are different. Next one, find the midpoint of the line segment which joining the points 3 comma 0 and minus 1 comma 4. So this one take it as x1 y1 and this take it as x2 y2. So what is the formula for finding the midpoint of a line segment? x1 plus x2 by 2 comma y1 plus y2 by 2. This is the formula for finding the midpoint. x1 3 plus x2 minus 1 by 2 comma y1 0 plus y2 4 divided by 2 again. 3 minus 1 2 2 by 2 comma 0 plus 4 4 by 2. If we do cancellation of these two, 2 1 2 to cancel, 2 1s are 2 2s are. So our answer is 1 comma 2. So the midpoint of the given line segment with the end points is 1 comma 2. Next, find the centroid of the triangle whose vertices are minus 1 comma 3, 6 comma minus 3 and minus 3 comma 6. This can be written as x1 y1 and this is x2 y2 and this is x3 y3. So the formula for finding the centroid is x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3 comma y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3. Here x1 is minus 1, x2 is 6, x3 is minus 3 by 3 comma y1 is 3, y2 is minus 3 and y3 is 6 by 3. Now let us simplify this. Minus 1 minus 3 minus 4, 6 minus 4 2 by 3 comma plus 3 minus 3 cancel, the remaining is 6 by 3. 2 by 3 we cannot simplify further, so write it as it is, comma 3 1s are 3 2s are, so 2. So the centroid of the triangle with the given vertices is 2 by 3 comma 2. Next, find slope of 4 comma minus 8 and 5 comma minus 2. So this we can write it as x1 y1 and this as x2 y2. So what is the slope formula? Slope is represented with m, otherwise with the tan theta. So this slope is so formula is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Let us check. y2 minus 2 minus y1 minus 8. by x2 5 minus x1 4 minus 2 minus into minus 8 plus 8 divided by 5 minus 4 1 minus 2 plus 8 6 by 1 doesn't have any value, so 6 by 1 is equals to 6. So the slope of the given line segment with the 2 points is 6.